life sends you three things. First, it sends you a feather. And a feather is like a little whisper. You can just kind of blow it off, and it's like a hint, like a little nudge. Then it sends you a brick, like a brick to the face. It's pretty uncomfortable. It
could be fatal.
It could be fatal. So it's probably like with my aim. So not really.
Okay, yeah.
But still, I've never, thank God, had a brick to the face. Nor do I desire to experience that. But yes, it hurts and you recover. But if you don't listen to the break again and you kind of, move on, then life sends you a bus and just flattens you. And it is true in my life. If I look back, reverse engineer from my bus moment where I've had to let it all go and had to completely reinvent myself, actually there was a brick. Actually, there were multiple bricks.
Right. Hello and welcome to another episode of Ways to Wealth. Today I'm joined by Yaela. Yaela, why don't you give us the TLDR on who you are and how you got here?
Wow, thank you so much for having me, first of all. It's so strange to be in the opposite seat.
Yes.
I guess that answers as a beginning to the answer of who I am and what I do, because I also run a podcast called the Powerhouse Diaries.
That's right.
For and by badass female founders. I just called myself badass. Well, you know what? There you go.
I guess you are a founder of this podcast that does it, so you're also a badass female founder.
So. Here you go. Just
living what you're doing. Oh, actually, we have you can pretty much say anything on this podcast, I believe. So far, we've not cut anything out. I don't actually know that because Sam, obviously, our team member, does the editing.
I will try, because
But you can swear, it's fine. Don't feel like you have to be restrained. We are all about none of that.
Good. Yeah, I swear like a sailor. I am Dutch. So in your face is the only language I speak fluently.
Nice.
So yes, Yaela, originally from Amsterdam, have been here in New Zealand for 9 years.
Uh-huh.
And like I said, currently the hostess with the mostest of the Powerhouse Diaries podcast, which is a part of a larger ecosystem that does a whole bunch of really cool for female founders and helping them redefine, actually tear up the rule book of what it means to be a successful female founder today, and change the game a little bit.
For sure. And when you say female founder, do you have a specific archetype in mind, or is a female founder to you any female business owner?
It's any female business owner that feels aligned with the way we do things. I think at Powerhouse Alliance and in Powerhouse Diaries, we tend to be disruptors, tear up the rule book, try a little bit of a revolution, and do things differently. And that's not for everyone, and that is okay. I think that in itself is a really great qualifier. So any female founder who feels like what we're doing would be supportive, come on, join the revolution. And
you can be doing a revolution even if you are a founder of a relatively traditional business, right? You can have your own revolution within that, right?
Absolutely. And I honestly believe, it sounds very contrarian, and I'm here to fuck shit up. And, that would be a nice bonus. No, that's a joke. But I think that in this day and age, connection to self, to each other, to and collaboration are the highest form of rebellion in this day and age. In a world where we grow up so disconnected, everything is constantly pulling us away from who we are, from truly connecting with other people on a meaningful level, not just, hey, what can I do for you? Or what can you do for me?
Transactional is not
exactly.
The way.
And we live in a fast forward, thank you next world, and it's only getting worse. And so when I say join the rebellion, it's a revolution, it is kind of a more traditional way. It's actually more about going inwards and backwards in order to propel yourself forwards in a more sustainable way.
It is kind of funny when we're in a part of a cyclical kind of environment where, kind of taking a step back is actually innovating in a sense. Exactly. And I think you're seeing that even in kind of certain business trends around investors that I respect, that are spending more time and effort to, I guess, get into businesses that are more relational and more personal to how someone feels. So, for example, like sporting teams and stuff, where there's like a camaraderie around a specific kind of, either vibe, location, I guess nostalgia, or team. I think that's the future.
I think it's so important because regardless of the industry you're in, regardless of what stage of business you're in, people buy from people. You can lead with your product or your service and your specs as much as you want. In the end, we are human animals, and there is that kind of connection, or there isn't. There's that attraction or repulsion, and if you can integrate that into your business, that is actually an incredible business strategy, which seems very unbusinesslike and fluffy, but the results are insane.
Yeah, cool. So how did you get to building this, or building the rebellion, or enabling this rebellion? Like, why?
That's a great question. So in my past life, it feels really like a past life. I used to own a marketing and PR agency that I started way back in Amsterdam at my kitchen table whilst perfecting the art of pushing a stroller with a foot whilst trying to type emails.
I got good at that too, actually, at one point.
It's it's kind of like, as kids, you try to do, I still can't do it, but so kitchen table, I had just left the hotel sales and marketing world, where I was like the youngest director of sales and marketing, and they couldn't understand why being in a room full of gray suits who believed that printing logos on stress balls and going to travel agents was the way to go. So I just left that world because I'm like, ooh, that's not gonna.
It's not fun.
It's also not even not fun. The mentality back in the day was one of the computer says no. So I was like, why do we do this? Does it work? It's like, oh, we do it every year. It's like, that's not the question. Like, does it work? I've always, I guess, been a bit of again, I think it's ridiculous that that's considered rebellion, or disruptor, but let's look at the things from different angles and not do things for the sake of doing them. So I started my own agency, specialized in hospitality, marketing, PR, or storytelling, which at the time wasn't a thing. And everyone told me I was crazy. There was no money in it. No restaurant or bar or hotel or food or drinks brand would ever hire an agency, and they hadn't 10 years ago in Amsterdam until they did, and then they all did, and then that grew really quickly, and in the time span of 7-8 years, it went from me at that kitchen table to a multinational, multi-million-dollar business, and we were in 5 different countries. Which is really not a story of look at me, how amazing I am. Like I know I called myself a badass in the beginning, but that was actually your typical story of disconnection. And I guess that's where it starts, because I was a complete workaholic. I was living on caffeine and adrenaline. I was completely disconnected from like life. I just kind of not even sleepwalked. I just went through the motions. If I think back I was there, like at the times when my kids were young, I was there physically. I mean, but it was just running at this never ending, this always moving goalpost of trying to prove myself to some invisible force.
Right. Yep.
So yeah, that was my start, and I'd love to say that I saw the light and changed my ways and found inner peace and just chanted Om for a bit.
Right.
But I didn't. I was forced to sell that business about 6 years ago now because of personal circumstances, and that was not a fun process. Okay. And part of that not so fun process was signing a global 3-year non-compete.
Are we still in that phase at the moment?
No,
we're done.
No, we're done.
Purgatory.
Done with the purgatory, and in hindsight, thank for it.
Okay, you were forced not to. Ha.
Yeah, I was forced to. At first, I was forced to innovate.
Yeah.
And also, I realized when I say I lost the business. I didn't lose it. I sold it. But at the time, it felt like it was ripped from my hands. Mm-hmm. I identified with the business, and therefore the success of the business and the growth of the business became my worth. Mm. And I was like, if I now don't have this, then what's there? Like, so that was a really.
What did you think success was when you were in that mode? Can you think back of like what it was that you thought it was all about?
First, I thought it was the first million, right? And then you hit that mark, and then you're like,
about revenue.
I'm talking about the first million in revenue, and then you realize it's just a number on a screen. It's not an actual
You don't
thing.
end up with $1 million every year.
No, and even if you do, like, okay, let's say you do end up with $1 million every year, like, great, but that also doesn't mean anything. What do you do with it? What do you create with it? What do you either buy with it or build, or it turns into an experience or not? Like, money are just numbers on a screen unless you assign meaning to it. Mm-hmm. And I think I was just chasing the growth for the sake of growth, because it's a very strange paradigm we live in, where we kind of accept you're either very successful and doing well, but miserable, or you're really like heart-centered, but broke as fuck. Yeah. And it's kind of a trade-off that we've all kind of just said, it's kind of the way it is. You can't have both. Yeah. And I think that's where I started to say, actually, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? So yeah, that's the beginnings of where I am today, because that state of being it's a strange addiction, being a workaholic, because everyone is cheering you on. Yeah, right. There's no one, if you're, pardon my French, shooting up in an alley, there's no one standing there applauding you. But with this, everyone is saying, yes, keep going. Yeah. More. Yeah. It's a very odd paradigm.
That's quite interesting. So did you have any other shareholders in that company?
No,
just you?
It was just me. And I also didn't have any, I have always bootstrapped. Yeah. And that is mainly because I've always been terrified of the concept of debt or being beholden to anyone. Mm-hmm. So I started that business with nothing. But also, that also meant that I was always, we were talking about this before in a different context, chasing my own tail. Because whenever, like, I would be drowning in work and I'd need to hire someone new or move to a bigger office, but I'd need the signed revenue before I could take the leap, because I had no other.
I think that's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea. It is. I think in this, what I've learned from it is that you can really, I can speak freely, block your own business.
By not raising
or having partners or...
Oh, I absolutely agree with the not having partners.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that's, you can really block it by stunting its growth, and especially now where, like, you know, success loves speed.
And you're now talking about collaboration and basically using an ecosystem and strong connection to build business and to build happiness and wealth, purpose.
Exactly.
Through what you're doing now. And perhaps prior you were basically concerned about giving up control.
Yes.
Perhaps. And that meant that you became the bottleneck for that business, most likely then.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then especially because I wanted to move here, which is the other side of the world, as you are well aware.
You always wanted to move here.
No, I always, the last few years in Amsterdam, we wanted to move, and we kind of had a short list of places, but we decided to move here out of our own interest of leaving Amsterdam.
Right.
So not so much there's an opportunity there, or I was married to a Kiwi. It was just we want to leave. Yeah. And so what happened? It was a really interesting process because as the bottleneck, all of a sudden I had to download all my IP basically into systems and processes. Actually,
it is fun.
Actually, it was really fun to the point where we used Asana as a project management tool.
Right.
They called me and said, "Hey, can we use your templates?"
Right.
So that was pretty cool.
It was probably almost a liberating experience actually doing that.
Yeah, I think you're at some point life forces you
to let go.
Yeah, I once was in Bali and some random dude in the yoga bar next to me started talking to me.
Standard story.
I know, it's so cliche.
Should we get some avocado on toast?
I would like a acai bowl, please.
Yes,
a green goddess smoothie. I know, it's so cliche, and it's funny because I ended up there like against my will because I was still in my
holding on phase.
Yes. Don't ask me how I ended up there, but I did. And this man told me a story that I think of a lot still. And he said, life sends you three things. First, it sends you a feather. And a feather is like a little whisper. You can just kind of blow it off. And it's like a hint, like a little nudge.
Okay.
Then it sends you a brick, like a brick to the face. It's pretty uncomfortable. I mean,
it could be fatal.
It could be fatal. So, it's probably, like with my aim. So not really.
Okay, yeah.
But still, I mean, I've never, thank God, had a brick to the face, nor do I desire to experience that. But, yes, it hurts and you recover unless it's really well aimed. But if you don't listen to the brick again and you kind of, move on, then life sends you a bus. And it just flattens you. And I see that. And it is true in my life. If I look back, reverse engineer from my bus moment where I've had to let it all go and had to completely reinvent myself, actually, there was a brick. Actually, there were multiple bricks.
Right.
And there were
and that was telling you, and that was prior. So you're talking about on the way to the bus.
Yes.
There's some feathers and bricks going around.
Exactly. And I was just ignoring them.
Fine.
And I was just ignoring them. And I was like, oh, no, it just should be fine.
That's such a hard balance, isn't it? When you have to work between being resilient and then knowing when you're actually on this kind of treacherous path.
Yeah, I think resilience, whilst wildly important, is something that can be so dangerous in the way it's presented as this holy grail.
Yeah.
My life has been an interesting one, as I'm sure everyone's has been, but there have been some quite extreme situations in my life. And because of that, people tell me, or used to tell me quite often, "Oh, you're so strong, you're so resilient." And it made me, because there was no other choice. Like, you're commanded for being strong and resilient.
So do you think it was just being resilient for other people?
Well, I guess it's survival, and especially as a parent.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for
like
sure.
What's the option?
You can't stop.
Yeah, you can't.
You don't feel like you can.
No, and this was in the context of something where you literally can't. But I think we take that on and we extrapolate that to our work life, where everything is I have to, I must. Everything feels like a life or death situation. We're constantly in fight or flight, as if we're facing, I say this wrong in English because it has a different...
Lions.
No, saber-tooth
tiger.
Oh yeah, in Dutch it's with an L, a sable-tooth. So
sable-tooth.
Well, it's sabeltandtijger.
Oh, okay, wow.
So everyone always laughs at me, like, damn it, get a better example.
Right. Yeah.
Should have gone with lion.
Lions are pretty bad too.
Yeah, it's true.
In that
scenario. But we are already, again, in our environment, in the way we live, constantly bombarded with
noise
that we then internalize as...
So signal versus noise, right?
Oh, that is a beautiful one.
So, and I guess you're trying to work out, especially if you put yourself in an environment where there's lots of feathers and bricks. Which is noise, which is signal.
Yeah.
And then obviously then there's the catalyst, right? And this is actually very typical in markets. You can actually learn a lot more about collective psychology around obviously markets and society and the zeitgeist of the moment, right?
I love that. Is that where you're like, people are panicking and they're all... when it's selling, like, how would you...
In a sense, like the emotions of the market and so forth, right? So, and there are often signals, but there's also a lot of noise.
Yes.
So you'll go on Instagram and you'll be like, oh, well, Tesla is this, or gold is this, or the world is going to end, or, there's all this, and everyone has their incentives, especially on social media, right? So it's very hard to know what is signal versus noise.
Yes, and that's such... a powerful thing, because that's what this connection and collaboration as a form of rebellion. Connection starts with connection to self, and connection to self can only that's where discernment lives. Yeah. That's where clarity lives. That's where you silence the noise, where you actually learn how to tune into your system, not just neck up.
Yeah.
And because that's very inflated, but really tune in, then it becomes suddenly very clear what is noise, what is signal, and which signal is for me, what feels right for me. I think the change that a lot of people get to experience is from living solely in their head to kind of dropping into their body. And then
I talk about this so much. So I talk about this a lot because as an investor and an innovator, I'm paid to actually live in the future and analyze the past, of course. Like history, past business endeavors, whatever, right? And as you're discussing, and we're paid to basically live in tomorrow, because that's what you get paid for as an entrepreneur. Yeah. Which means that you basically never actually exist in the present.
And that's the only place that exists.
There's a duality, right? Because I think there's a great wisdom and freedom and liberation that comes from having a vision and thinking long term and acting with an intent to think long term and to delay noise signals feedback.
Yes.
So small habit I do. I'm super happy that my son has started adopting it. But like, if I ever eat a meal, I'll eat all the worst stuff first. That's terrible. If I eat a steak, I'm leaving that fatty bit until last. Like, so enjoying it. And he started adopting it. And I know it's something quite small, but it's effortless, but it's discipline. Yeah, it's the eat the frog theory. Yeah, rather than, I think, the other, where it becomes unhealthy, where it's like, I put an expectation on myself that I would have these certain feedback loops by now.
Yeah.
And then I spend my time envious that it's not there yet.
Yeah, I think there's that, because I agree. And I think you have to, I don't know if it's living in the future, but it is.
It's addictive, living in the future.
Well, it's also avoidant,
For sure.
Which is why it's so addictive. Been there, done that. But I don't know about living in the future for me at this stage of my life anymore. I try to very consciously bring myself back. But
I agree
as
I totally agree with you. You have to live in the present.
But you have to have.
But you're encouraged and you're kind of, in a sense, paid for seeing the future.
Yeah, well, and I think seeing the future and living in it are different things.
That's totally true.
And you can see a future and also not attach to it. So you have the direction and be like, if I tell you, hey, I have this awesome party, you want to come? How are you going to get there? Like you don't know when, you don't know where, you don't know what time, you have no details. If I give you a direction of, okay, it's going to be in March and in this area, then you can start taking the first steps of like, oh, how do I take a bus? Do I get on a bike? I mean, I'm from Amsterdam, so there's a bike involved. Yeah. You can at least start planning some steps. You don't have to see the entire staircase to take the first steps, because if you wait until the whole road is clear, until you know exactly what it is, until to have the dress code and the exact guest list and all of that, then often you've missed it, right? So you want to start moving with directionality and intention.
Do you think it's also about like designing and enjoying the present and the work, like actually I'm just going to get in this week and I am going to make some progress, and actually enjoying that process, because like you say, otherwise the goalposts consistently move and you're always chasing something. So like I don't actually want to talk about it, but I guess I will. I'm getting my brown belt next month.
Oh my God.
It's annoying to talk about it before I've got it.
I want to show and tell. I don't just want to tell for this. Maybe there's a thing I'm doing that will include that too. But I was thinking about it because I've been a purple belt for a while, and getting to purple belt's interesting because it's like you're kind of there. Actually, in terms of like, as a purple belt, you can be very competitive against black belts, and the actual kind of, from a technique or a skill perspective, or even an athleticism perspective, like purple belts, some awesome, and in a kind of competitive environment, there's a whole varied outcomes that happen, right? And, getting new belts is always what you want to do. You want to progress. I've always been a little bit... Purple's my favorite color, so I've always joked that I just want to be there forever. But I was thinking about it when I got got told that I would be getting the brown belt, so I haven't got it yet. It made me appreciate, actually, I don't care. It's not getting the brown belt. It's actually what you do when you're the brown belt. And I always thought about, jiu-jitsu and progression, and, I underestimated, because it was a very hard period of my life through having my purple belt the last 4 years. It's been the hardest 4 years of my life. So yeah, last 4 years have been like crazy. And it's actually pushed me to understand that like there will be tomorrow. Puts things in perspective.
Exactly. Especially like around health things and stuff as well. Like it's very difficult, and keeping the boat afloat, right? But it makes that you think when you get your purple belt, that's the moment, but actually it's not. It's been the 4 years or 4.5 years or whatever it is, 4 years I think, of having that belt, and what that's meant to me.
I think I have these kind of journal prompts that I send my podcast guests to kind of scare them. And I tell them it's not, these are not the questions, because they're quite personal, but it's kind of just to get them thinking about certain parts of their life. And one of the questions is about, like, who is the person you had to become in order to be where you are today, right? There is that, when you say living in the future, there is that version of you that has the brown belt that was different than the version of you that first got the purple belt. And so who did you become? But also which versions of you did you have to let go of?
On the way.
In order to...
And there were so many.
Right?
In that 4 years, there were a few. That's nuts. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's a very powerful thing. I think I talk about flussel a lot.
Okay.
And it's a made up word, so that's okay. But I talk about it with my clients, and I use it in my own life, because we're so obsessed, we at least used to be, but so obsessed with the hustle. Right? And then the hustle was dead, and it was all about being in flow and being in alignment.
Okay.
And flussel is not the middle between flow and hustle. There is no, like, people talk about balance, like, shut up. Like, there is no such thing. I see it as a kind of a lever. I never know. How do you say? Which one?
Lever's good.
Lever, I'll go with that.
Or a lever. I could go with any. It depends how I feel.
Okay. So it's a lever day?
Yeah.
It's a lever kind of day. So it's a lever on a scale. And I always describe flow as you're on your unicorn floaty on a river and just lying there. And it's really enjoyable and you're just bobbing along. But there's no sense of directionality. There's no, I want to stop over there because, it's just you and your floaty on the river. You're being taken where the river takes you. Hustle is rowing upstream, but you know where you're going, and you're rowing and you're rowing, and you're going to get there, but you're going to be exhausted. You're never going to see what's beyond that point because you're not going to voluntarily keep rowing whilst you can't even breathe. And neither of those, in their most extreme expression, I think, are very healthy ways of being. Flussel is, again, the connection to know where to move that lever in any given stage in your business and in your life. Yeah. There are times that call for more of the hustle energy. Yeah. And there's seasons that call for more of the, hey, I trust and I've put the things in place and now and moving that with intention instead of...
it's like a dial.
Yeah.
Listen to your body.
Yeah, exactly.
Your body tells you things.
Oh, the body keeps a score. Great book. You should read it. Yeah. Yeah, I always described that, we're often taught, our mental field, and it's great, but especially through the whole mind over matter and mindset work. And don't get me wrong, I'm a coach. Like, I love me a good mindset hack and stuff like that. But it is taken out of context so badly because I describe it as, imagine you have your own board of directors and you're on a Zoom call, and it's you and you have three advisors there. You have your mental body, your physical, your somatic body, and your emotional body. But those two, it's just are on mute, and they are like, but you can't hear them. And you're just listening to the mind. And the mind is fucking genius. It can tell you anything. Yeah. It can tell you I'm wearing red pants or like blue pants. And it can be very compelling. Yeah. Either way. So the key to that...
Is that the ego?
It is the ego, which got a bad rep, by the way. Like the ego is trying to keep us safe. But safe and growth are like fundamentally incompatible. Yeah. Because growth is always going to be outside of your comfort zone and in a scope that you haven't experienced. Therefore, it's not safe because we can't control it. So you're always, as an entrepreneur, you're always I guess, fighting with your natural instincts, with your ego, in order to take those leaps of faith. But through that, also kind of completely ignore or don't know how to discern which signals, noise or signal, fear or excitement. Is this just like a scary thing to do, or am I just throwing myself and people around me in front of a bus?
That's a really good perspective. And I think it's also interesting because I think like a lot of people get told, like we get told like, oh, well, Steve Jobs was all focus, no noise. And Elon Musk is all focus and no noise. But it's very perspective based, right? Like, is it really all signal? It's all the signal that they want to focus on.
Yeah. And also that's like great when you have a couple 100,000 employees, you know?
Yeah. But the people that they would be affecting would obviously be their families, their immediate reports, etc. The people that are close to them. And I mean, maybe it's net positive for them, but you know, you also say, well,
what's net positive?
Yeah, what is net positive? I think it does ask a deeper question around like not just, I guess, commercial outcome. And I don't think that, for example, I don't actually think they are very commercially minded or more ideals minded, right? I have this thing that I want to conquer, which I think both of those personas, and I think there are extremes, right, on that side of hustle and signal over zero noise, because we can't have any noise because there's this thing that's greater than anything else.
It's like cult-like.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess there's that. That's probably one side of the extreme, right, around kind of noise and focus and focused at all costs.
Yeah, well, and that's it. I think that's what I learned in my previous business, was that success or a certain metric at all costs, never, like not interesting. Yeah, not worth it. For some people maybe it is, but I think our obsession as a society with growth versus expansion. Growth is such a linear way of looking at it. It needs to be more, bigger, more like better, and expansion has dimensions. It's depth and breadth and width, and
well, maybe that's the disconnect and why people are so dissatisfied, perhaps because there's the desired outcome and then there's getting to it.
Yeah.
And then the noise in the system is telling us that we can have it all now and very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, it's also telling us that not having it right now makes us lesser. Yeah, makes you a loser. Like everything is, this is not, I always start off my Powerhouse Alliance spiel by saying this is not a feminist rant or an angry feminist rant. Sorry.
Yeah.
But it's true. The system, these are for-profit institutions that, like social media, and just the businesses, the world we live in, benefits from a population that feels not enough, like they need it, like they're behind.
So many successful people I know, clients of ours, think they're behind.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they don't know. And it's amazing how much you can change people's perspective by just showing them what they have and what they've built.
Yeah, and I think it's such a slippery slope that I find myself, I'm sitting here preaching like, you're exactly where you need to be. But I have plenty of moments where I'm like, I had this version of success, and yes, I was miserable.
But it had its benefits. You kind of molded or kind of chameleon-like adapted to a very male-dominated kind of corporate environment through your career, and kind of, I guess, saw the signals of how to basically adjust to the system, but not necessarily bringing necessarily as much change as you might wanted to have seen. In a sense, I'm explaining that poorly. But.
No, actually, you're explaining it pretty accurately. I think I think at the time I didn't realize it. I think when I look back, and the reason the Powerhouse Alliance exists in its current form today is because I realized that whether we like it or not, we operate in a world that isn't built by nor for us. Mm-hmm. And by us, I mean women. Yeah. And I never thought that was an issue. I always thought that was such, stop whining. Everyone, just get on with it. But the reality is we are a different animal. And because there's finally being some more research done actually into women's health and brain study, actually physiologically different shaped brains. The way historically that has played out, one of my favorite Instagram memes is, are you going to cry about it? Or are you going to do something about it? And then it says, well, first of all, I'm going to do both. And I think that's kind of the place a lot of people are in. There's a lot of angry or anger and frustration, angry feminists. And the people who have succeeded, or the women who have succeeded in this system, are the ones who, whether intentionally or not, have learned the if you can't beat them, join them strategy, which I did for many years. And fair enough. And it's not about beating anyone. Let me be clear. This is really not about. I think any business, any world, and anything needs both energies and perspectives. But it needs both energies and perspectives as they are in their fullness of expression, and not as a emulation of the other.
Right.
So I decided I wanted to play a different game. I realized that there's a lot of things people can cry about. Oh, the patriarchy, big corporates, this and that. Sure, go ahead. But actually, I realized I and a lot of other female founders were perpetuating the problem. And not just female founders, just as women, because we were we're pressing subscribe to these bullshit rules and ways of this is how it works. And every time we play that game, we are reinforcing it, and it's getting stronger. And that's just the status quo.
Yes.
So I started.
A classic status quo.
Yeah, it really is. And I think, we call ourselves disruptors, yet this is such such an interesting topic to see how people react to it. It's very loaded for many people, because I think I sat at a disruptors dinner on Monday night at the start of Auckland Startup Week. And at one point I was speaking to a few gentlemen around me around what I do. And I noticed an instant, almost defensiveness. I'm not blaming you guys.
Take it personally.
I know, I'm not.
Take it professionally.
Exactly. I'm saying, let's. I'm choosing to play a different game. That doesn't need to be your game.
Yeah, that's right.
And so the future that I would like to see is a future where founders, female, male, and everything in between, operates from a space of who they are, and they can tap into their superpowers. But before we can do that, we need to break the mold a little bit. Yep. So that starts with this. It starts with the Powerhouse Diaries podcast. It starts with, you can't change anything you're too afraid to talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
It starts with sharing real stories, not just the glamorous hashtag, I woke up like this and I made, exited with a 17 million X and also went on a holiday every, yeah. So like but that is also again through social media, even on a business platform like LinkedIn, kind of how it's projected. It's the wins, it's the highs, it's actually, there's no real connection, there's no real collaboration, there's no real vulnerability. There's very strategic vulnerability.
Strategic. I would like to double click on a few areas there, because I think what you're saying is that's exactly right. You can't talk about change. You can't complain about banks and then keep consuming their products that you don't like. Yeah. You have to vote with your dollars. And that's something, and that's with your actions as well as your capital, but often it is a manifestation of your capital. But in the case of financial service, for example, you're actually not directly paying, you're indirectly paying, and you're indirectly consuming, and you don't like the system, but you won't move. Yeah. So therefore it will stay the same for the most part. And another thing that I think I'd love to double click on is, which I think a lot of people unfortunately kind of get trapped in, is thinking that all of our races are the same, right? Like, actually, we're all, and I talk about this to my daughter a lot when when it's like they were, Jesse or whatever was able to do this, and and
I've had those conversations.
But you're running your own race, right? So like, it's not about equal outcomes, because you can't really get it, because we all start from a different position. So I think we have to embrace that we're actually all running our own race, and we shouldn't try and be like, oh, well, then my expectation is something that it's not, based on outside expertise, not expertise at all, but outside I guess cultural dynamics and systems that already exist.
But it's like, I think that's such a important conversation, especially to have at a young age. So I have a son and a daughter, and they're a little older, they're teenagers, and I have conversations with my daughter around why was her brother allowed to do things at the age she's at now that she is not? And I had to have conversations with her around there are certain things that, whether you like it or not, just work differently.
Circumstances have changed.
And also there is there's a different way of moving in the world as a girl than as a boy. And that doesn't mean he has more freedom. It means he has other things he needs to be aware of. But everybody is running their own race, but we're all pretending like it's not. So we're all pretending that we're playing the same game from a physical standpoint, and it's, I think it's robbing the world of so much unrealized potential. Because when we actually do, turning back to the race, comes again back to your connection and discernment, because there's so much noise about this guy is running that race and that woman is doing that and So how do you know what is your race? Like, how do you know what is your path? How do you know? And it only comes through going inward and feeling your way through it, what that next right step is, having that direction and feeling into it. So we tell the stories, and the real stories, because also all those shiny stories, how boring. Aren't we done with that? And then we have created a playground, the Powerhouse Playground. And the Powerhouse Playground, what I really want it to be is just that. And it's the place where, imagine a neural network or a mycelium network, where every female founder or company, investor, mentor that is working with female founders or doing something for female founders is connected with each other. Instead of everyone just guarding their own homework and building their own little thing, imagine what would happen if you don't come from a space of scarcity and of like, there's a finite amount of success and dollars, and they're printing money every nanosecond. Like it's insane. And so what if we just really connected and not just on I always kind of say the playground is, imagine if Tinder and LinkedIn had a love child, but cute. And where your LinkedIn connections are usually just like dusty, business cards for a lot of people. And even if they're not, even if it's used like you very proactively and openly reached out, even if it's not, it's often very surface level. I sell this service. Do you want this service? Or but it's not human to human. Yeah. So the playground has all of that because we're founders. We're here to build businesses and like empires and make money. Don't get me wrong. I like making money. But again, connect on a human level because people buy from people. And when that is all connected, imagine how much magic can come out of that.
Well, I think that when you have a transactional model, you basically are setting the price for something, and you're setting the cost as well, right, on both sides, because there's basically a buyer and a seller. But when you and that's what, a few things kind of like Acuity was built off this idea of equity and acuity. Yeah. And our when you were talking about there isn't one arch, and the financial advice space is very much, this is the arch. You're going to get married, you're going to have done some uni prior, you're then going to save up, you're then going to get the mortgage, then you're then going to be indebted to me for 30 years, and actually it's not going to be 30 years because you're going to go on that holiday and buy that car, so it's going to be 45 years, and everyone's got the same arc, and we're all retiring at the same point. So, and that our vision is that we believe that everyone has the right to build wealth for themselves and have the freedom to choose how they get there. Exactly. And that's why I love things that, people like you are doing, is because you're actually allowing people to wake up to the fact that there isn't just this one kind of train that they have to jump on to get to this desired outcome that, conveniently keeps changing. Yeah.
And changing ever so rapidly now. And I think when you are we grow up in nuclear families. We grow up being, this is a very extreme way of saying it, but from childhood in schools being pitted against each other and rated and ranked against each other. We grow up in a world, in a paradigm that says there is only there's a finite amount of resources and success and whatever, and it has us. Even the concept of of competition, of a competitor's analysis, I find it ludicrous. Someone who resonates.
Well, and then that's going back to the race thing. If you run your own race, then you're not competing against anyone else. And then you're actually in a position where you can openly partner and have an equity alignment with another party. And that's why actually, having aligned shareholders is such a valuable thing for a business, for a community, for a government, for any sort of institution. And that's why I always talk about, when you're selling shares as a company, if you want more fuel for the fire, be careful, because you're selling a part of your soul every time you do that. It's not free money when you raise capital. No. So just to kind of land here, what do you think, how does a female founder gain the confidence to run their own race rather than assimilating to a system that is not built for them and they won't enjoy being in, which is where you came from, I guess?
I think a female founder listening, that they can do right now in this moment is kind of just imagine that screen with the 3 Zoom on there, and in every decision, but start with micro decisions. Start with coffee or tea, left or right, this dress or this dress. try and check in with all three, not just your mind. Like just it's a 30-second thing. If it's a bigger decision, you're in office and you don't want to look like a weirdo like me, go to the bathroom and just take a second or say, hey, I'll get back to you. But check in and just acknowledge, like we have been told that our emotions, that's a terrible thing to have. But actually it's our guidance skill that our bodies should be like, just keep going and just push through any discomfort. Our bodies are screaming at us. So just taking a moment and starting to listen, starting with acknowledging, maybe then acknowledging and hearing, and then maybe acknowledging, hearing, and listening or honoring the feedback of all three, you become unstoppable. And like, join the Alliance. It's free. Like it's just like join, start surrounding yourself with people who aren't afraid to be human instead of following a template that isn't them.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me. Love it.